A very good evening to everyone. On behalf of the Royal College Computer Society and the ICT Club of Girls High School Kandy, I warmly welcome each one of you to SparkIT Session 1, the Robotics Workshop. We are so excited to kick off this amazing journey of learning and innovation with all of you here today. So, to officially start things off, I'd now like to invite Sunny Lakshan, the chairperson of Royal College Computer Society, to give the welcome speech. He'll also be sharing with us more details about the SparkIT project and, of course, about today's exciting session on robotics. Over to you, Sanidul.
Thank you, Kavani. Good evening, everyone. And it's with great honor that I welcome you all to the very first session of SparkIT’25, an initiative, SparkIT Flash, an initiative under SparkIT’25, organized by the Royal College Computer Society and the ICT Club of Girls High School, Kandy. SparkIT is a national project launched with the mission of uplifting ICT literacy among school students across Sri Lanka and guiding them to become the next generation of innovators. Through this SparkIT Flash, we aim to bring focused, practical, and inspiring sessions that bridge the gap between school-level learning and the digital careers of tomorrow. Beyond this phase, SparkIT will also be extending to more initiatives such as SparkIT Fusion and SparkIT Family. Through these programs, we are planning to reach several regions of Sri Lanka to provide you with hands-on experience and up-to-date industrial knowledge in various areas of ICT, while helping and guiding you in the developing your school's ICT field. This is not just another project. It's a revolution to uplift the entire technological landscape of Sri Lanka in the field of ICT by partnering with different parties in government sector and private sector. Today's session marks the beginning of that journey with the robotics session. This session will be conducted by the Robotic Gen team and will introduce students to the exciting world of robotics, exploring how it can shape their future. From the school-level exposure to the career and degree pathways, the discussion will provide valuable guidance on how to build a strong foundation in this field. We are also privileged to have with us Mr. Odil Janadit, who will be leading today's session, along with the expertise and technical insights, but also real-world inspiration and how passion can transform into a career. So, without further delay, let's move forward and invite our distinguished lecturer to lead us into the world of robotics, and I hope this will be an inspiring session for you all. Over to you, Odilaya. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sanidhi, for that introduction. So before we go on to the session, I just want to clarify if I am audible enough and if my video is clear for you.
Yes, everything's okay.
All good, right? All right then. So let's move on to the session. So I think we have around 100 participants in the session. So that's actually really good to see. So I guess today, the audience is a bit interesting because like when we have a session usually that's about robotics or AI, we usually see an audience filled with boys. So I think today we have like a lot of girls joining the session today. I think that's like really good. So I think maybe the reason is we have okay, you have 100 participant limit in soon, right? Okay, that's really good. So you have a YouTube live going on as well. So, and also like let me know if there's any background noise coming from my side because I'm actually in the lab right now.
No,
So yeah, sure. So let's move on to the session. All right. So today's session, I just don't want to like do it like a normal classroom session that you have every day in your school. So I want to make it as a discussion between you. So I'll ask questions from you. And if you have any question to ask from me, you can shoot it in the chat box or simply just unmute yourself and ask from me. I'm very happy to like help you out and give an answer if I know about that. At the same time, so today we are going to learn about robotics, right? So can like some of you tell about your experiences so far with robotics? So raise your hand. You know, in Zoom there's an option to raise hand, right? I'm pretty sure you know about this. So can you raise your hands if you like if any one of you have built a robot so far? Any kind of robot. It could be a very simple one. Just put a small raise of hand. If you have built a robot, any robot. Okay, we have we have around two raised hands. That's it. Interesting. So I think around the majority, they're actually pretty new to the field, right? Yeah, only three raised hands. So that's actually totally fine. Yep. So I think then that will be like a really good first experience for most of you about robotics and how can you get into robotics as well. So before we go into the session, actually, I want to make it as a uh, I'll stop sharing for a moment. So yeah. And yep. So we'll be having a quiz throughout the session as well. So maybe you are in the Zoom meeting or maybe you are in the YouTube. That's fine actually. You have to go to this link. I'll copy paste in the Zoom chat as well. So if the organizing committee is like if they can just share it in the YouTube as well. This you have to go to joinmyquiz.com and then you have to put this number. This is the game ID, and then you can join to the meeting link here, the quiz link here. So we'll be doing this quiz throughout the session. I just to everyone. You can use the link there too. So I think Vinuja joined. So let's wait a few minutes until everyone join. I think we have around 100 participants in here. So let's make sure everyone is in the quiz. Right, until that happens, I'll share the screen. All right. So now when I talk about robotics, usually like we have seen many robots in movies and cartoons, right? Can someone tell what the name of this robot? This cute looking robot. Just put in the chat if you know. Chat box if you know. What's the name of this robot? And any of these robots, if you know the names of any of these robots. Yeah, Wally. The first robot is Wally, right? That's correct. And the second robot, that's really good if you know the name of this robot. That means you are kind of old school and you watch like old movies. Can you name this robot and the movie that you can see this robot? Yeah, Wally. The first one is Wally. Who's the second one? Yep, Star Wars. So this robot is called R2 D2 R2D2, and then this robot is also in the same movie. And then who's the last one? Bumblebee, right? Okay. Mantuli gave the correct answer. Fourth one is Bumblebee. So that's the most famous one, right? Everyone knows Bumblebee, but very few know about R2D2 and B8B. Yeah, I also forgot the name. And then I think most of you know Wall-E as well because that's like very popular movie out there, right? So that's how we actually know about robots, right? Mostly, I mean, even in our like even when I was a child, I loved like Wall-E and Bumblebee and all the Transformer movies. Like they had very cool robots. Sometimes like I got the feeling that robots are always about like destroying things. Like when I when I like watched the Transformer movie, I got to know about Autobots and they are very like destructive. They always like fight with each other. That's kind of a notion I had in my mind when I was a child, actually. I'm pretty sure that may not be the case with you because recently we got like very cool movies like Wild Robot. I mean, that actually shows that emotional like feeling of a robot, right? Like the good part of a robot. I think you grew up watching these type of movies. So, I mean, there are a lot of movies and cartoons about robots. So that's it. Let's go into the first question for today. And I think we can serve it as the starting point for today's quiz as well. I think so far we have around 59 participants. Is that so? So I think we have enough time. Oh, okay. Let's start the quiz. I think you can join the quiz even after like I started using the link. So that's actually fine. So I'm going to start the quiz in 5 seconds. So if you're not still joined in, you can join. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, one join right now. Go. Okay, now done. I'm going to start the quiz. So I think 35 of you are not in the quiz. 62 still join. Right, I'll start the quiz now. So the first question is, what is a movie related to robots? So I think only, yeah, I'll stop the timer because it's the first question. So I'll give you some time to answer. Few more to join. Since it's the first question, I'll give you some time to answer. But keep in mind, like if you answer it faster, then you'll get more points as well. Yeah, I'll go to start. Yeah. So we have Senuja in first place, and then Suha in second place, and Jain in third place. So I think they got to the first place and second place because they answered it very quickly. So I think you got the idea here, right? All right, let's move to the session. All right. So now when we talk about robots, like, I mean, why do we need robots? Any ideas here before we go on the slide? Why do we need robots? Any answer from you guys? I mean, do we actually need robots? Why is everyone talking about robots these days? Like, I mean, if you go into YouTube, there are so much humanoid robots like doing kung fu, whatnot, any martial arts and doing cooking stuff. Do we actually need them? What do you think? I mean, if you can unmute yourself and talk, that's fine as well. What do you think? So we actually need robots because as humans, we have very like we have limitations, right? We are not good at doing everything. So I mean, as a human, actually, like when I have to study and if I have to do some work, I actually need some breaks in between because I can't work all day long, like 24 hours without any break, non-stop. I can't work like that. I hope you cannot work like that as well. We need some breaks, right? And at the same time, we get bored when we do some stuff. Like especially if it's like, I mean, if I ask you to like go in front of your home, like to a road and count all the vehicles going there, like one by one. I mean, you will do it for like 1 hour, and then after 1 hour, you'll get bored, you'll get hungry, right? That because we get bored easily, and also we are not effective at doing repetitive tasks. Repetitive tasks in the sense are එකම වැඩේ ආයි ආයි කරන්න. ඒ වැඩවලට අපි කැමති නෑ. Like we get bored when we do repetitive tasks. And also, like if I ask you to like go somewhere and lift a very heavy, like a table alone, that's you cannot do as well because we have very limited strength, right? And then at the same time, if I ask one of you to like go somewhere and like maybe deactivate a bomb, you wouldn't do that, right? I mean, do you think like that's a very dumb idea because I'm not someone from police or like forces to like go here and there and like deactivate bombs and maybe like engage with criminals because that's very risky. So usually as humans, our nature is like we don't like to put ourselves in risky situations. We always try to avoid risks. That's our nature, right? That's human behavior. That's totally fine. So you can see now these are the problems we face as humans. Those are things that limit us. So robots actually only helpful when we have to overcome these limitations, right? Robots are not just to like look cool and look nice and do some cool stuff. I mean, it's actually cool if a robot can like do some martial arts and like talk with someone and do some nice stuff. It's actually really cool for a nice video and you can share it to someone else. But if a robot cannot help humans and augment what humans can do, මිනිස්සුන්ට කරන්න බැරි දේවල් කරන්න පුළු බැයි නම් රොබෝ කෙනෙක්ට සහ මිනිස්සුන්ට කරද්දී අර එපා වෙන දේවල් බෝරින් දේවල් කම්මැලි දේවල් රොබෝ කෙනෙක්ට කරන්න බැරි නම් අපිට ඇත්තටම රොබෝ කෙනෙක්ගෙන් වැඩක් නැහැ. අපිට ඒ දේවල් තමයි රොබෝ කෙනෙක්ගෙන් කරගන්න ඕනේ. right? ඒතර එක්සැම්පල් එකකට ගත්තොත් එහෙම like රොබෝලා ඉන්න එක එක જાති වැඩ කරන්නේ. Like we have several robots doing like working in several industries in our houses. As an example, like in manufacturing facilities, we have robots doing welding of the car parts. And then we have as robots that can do cooking. And then there are robots that are doing like crop harvesting. So especially these days in agriculture, robotics has been like the next big thing. Because like, I mean, even in Sri Lanka, I believe like some of you may have experienced this. Like if your father is like maybe doing a farm or like engaged in some agricultural businesses, you may have, I mean, if you can ask from your father, like they will say the young generation is actually like very hesitant to go into fields like agriculture and engage in farming because even if I ask you like who you want to be, you won't ever say that you want to be a farmer, right? You say you want to be an engineer and a doctor, what else? An AI engineer, like pilot. Those are the things that you say, right? We don't say like we want to be a farmer. Because of that reason, farming has become a very like less exciting field for the young generation, like for you. So that's why robotics has like entered to the field. So now even in like Europe countries, in America, we can see robots working in the field, like plucking fruits and like weeding the fields and like planting the seeds and doing all the repetitive tasks and trivial tasks that a farmer might do because there's a huge labor shortage for industries like agriculture. And then sometimes like defense forces, they have to like go there and exchange like engage with criminals and how to dispose bombs. So for that they typically use those remote controlled vehicles where they have a nice remote and then they can operate this like rover kind of thing and go and deactivate the bomb with the arm that is built on top of that. And then we have this interesting robot. I'm pretty sure like you may know the name. Can someone say the name of this robot? in the chat? I can't see the answers. Game code is actually 912.481. I'll just put it in the chat. 912.481. 912.481. Right. And then I think so no one gave the answer. I have a lot of questions there. I'll answer them later. So this robot is called Roomba, and it's actually very popular all over the world. So that's we used to be like clean the floors. Because like people are very busy these days, they don't have time to clean their floors. So then they buy a robot. And then we have like these cool looking robot dogs to do like remote monitoring. So it can like go around the facility and do the inspections and security stuff, things like that. So those are the places where robots are actually being engaged these days. But unfortunately in Sri Lanka, we don't have that luxury to see robots in action, right? That's very sad actually. But hopefully we'll be able to like see many robots in our day-to-day lives as well. So that's something we are actually working as Robotic Gen team to give you the opportunity to see more robots in the future. All right. So with that saying, we'll go to the next question. Okay. I think only 53. Yeah, only 60 answered for this question. So like the question was, what is a movie related to robots? So the answer is actually Real Steel. Home Alone or Charlie and Chocolate Factory, Beauty and the Beast, they are not like related to robotics, right? So only 53 gave the correct answer. 500 Home Alone. Like, how can you find robots in Home Alone? All right. Okay, let's go to the next question. So, I mean, when you answer, like, it's actually easier for me if you can unmute yourself and tell because I might actually miss some of the questions in the chat box. Okay, let's go to the next question. So, question is, since when the word robot was first began to use? Is it 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 80 years ago, or 100 years ago? That's actually a tricky question. I stopped the timer this time as well because I think we have 89 participants in the quiz. So even if you join now the first question, I think there's a big chance that you can still win. Since when the word robot was first began to use? So I'll only give this chance in like first 3-4 questions. Like after that, I'll like let the timer go off. And I put the timer on. Yeah, right now we have Vidun in the first place, Shavin James in the second place, and Resandu in the third place. All right, and also the fourth place is also very close by. So that's actually a really good competition in the top 4. Right, okay. So the answer is actually 100 years ago. So that's actually pretty Surprising answer, right? Only 20 of you said 100 years ago. So correct answer is 100 years ago. Only 20 of you said that. So actually the word robot came into existence with a like a play or a drama that was staged in this country called Czechoslovakia. So in that drama, there was this character who was like molded using iron. Like we can රූකඩ කියලා රූකඩයක් puppet කෙනෙක්. But that was made out of iron. So in Czechoslovakian language, they named it as the iron slave, a slave made out of iron. So that's actually like in their language, it's called roboto, and that's how the word actually derived. And from then onwards, like people are using the word robot to machines that were made out of iron and like of like artificial stuff. So that's how the word robot actually came to existence, like way before even like all these computers and I mean computers there, I guess. Like all those like like nice stuff related to electronics came to existence. Uh yeah, that's it. Let's go into the session. Then we have few questions there. Yeah, so I mean, if you go to the question, robot is not. I mean, I'm asking since when the word robot first began to use. I mean, asking about the word. So that's why I said it's a tricky question. So the field of robotics may, I mean, that started like way before that, way after that. So that's not the question. I'm asking like since when the word robot first began to use, right? So what are the other questions? Yeah. Uh, how can I disable the annotation? Disable the annotations for this. Okay. Then, yeah, it's actually, that's fine. I mean, when you have an MCQ, you have to mark the closest answer. No? Sometimes it won't be the most correct answer, but you have to for that. 50 years ago is like when the robotics industry started. But question is, since when the word robot was first began to use? That's why that's why I said it's tricky. Also, like if you have any questions, you can put it in the Slido link. I'll open the Slido here as well. So I'll only actually look at the Slido from now on, but I think it's actually easy for me. And then I disable the annotations. Yeah, I think Fatima said an answer for the earlier one. We use actually robots to make work easier. That's like really good answer. Why use robots and is robots are not danger for humans in future? I'll answer about this later, right? All right. So in any type of these robots, we actually, I mean, sometimes like we come up with different machines, right? We have refrigerators, we have ACs, we have laptops, and all that, right? What actually differs a robot from a machine? So how do we actually identify this is a robot, this is not a robot? Like what could be there? So that's what I'm going to tell you now. So if something has to be termed as a robot, or a machine has to be termed as a robot, that machine should be able to sense its environment and carry out computations and make decisions, right? But that's not enough. It has to perform some actions in the world as well. So now we might imagine, so if you take the refrigerator, right, it can sense so if you take the AC actually, it can sense the environment, right? It can measure the humidity and temperature and it can adjust itself, can do some calculations, adjust its temperature, right? So some might say the modern like AC like can be termed as a robot as well. I mean, according to the uh, definition, it's actually true. But if you take like feel like a washing machine, sometimes like it's very hard to define them as a robot. But with the current advancements, actually it's really hard to like we can't actually draw a line that this modern washing machine is not a robot, like because they are very advanced. They have sensors. They can even like sense the weight of the clothes that are in the washing machine, and then they can actually plan the washing patterns, and then like turn their motors and rotate the that basket and wash the clothes. So actually, even washing machines are actually transforming to robots by itself. So, but anyway, this is the simple idea. Like, how can we define a robot? So, if we summarize it, a robot has to sense. So, this is the first class, and then a robot has to plan. So, there are several sensors. Like I'll be talking about them later as well. Using sensors, the robot can look around itself, and then based on the things that he see, the things the robot can hear, maybe the things that the robot can taste, maybe like any kind of sense. මිනිස්සුන්ට තියෙන්නේ අර එක එක sensing දැනුම්. ඒ වගේ robot වලත් එක එක දැනුම් තියෙනවා. So based on the sensing, the robot can plan what he has to do. So it could be like a decision to follow a wall. It could be a decision to like detect some object and follow it. It can be an decision to avoid some obstacle, or maybe to go from like point A to point B. So you have to first plan it. And then after planning, it has to act that task, actually do that work. So to do some work, they have like several items like motors, servo motors, DC motors. Like usually it's all about motors, right? Like if you see like when a robot moves its hands and legs, it's actually motors in action. Sometimes like some of these robots, they might be using like even lights to convey stuff, like the displays. Even these things can be considered as actuators, because using a light you can like do some action, right? Sometimes like things like LEDs, like maybe speakers, these can be even used for actuation depending on the robot. So like we cannot actually limit it to motors as well, right? Okay, then that's it. We can go to the next question. Next question. What humans are good at compared to robots? Is it doing repetitive tasks, doing labor intensive tasks, doing creative activities, or doing risky tasks? That's an easy question. All right. Okay, we got a swap in the third place. Netme in the third place, Shavin in second place, and Vidun still reigns in the first place. That's really cool. Let's go to the answer. So actually, what humans are good at compared to robots? It's pretty obvious. Humans are actually better at doing creative activities. So I think that actually gives the answer for the question that was asked here. Why use robots, right? So we actually want to use robot to do repetitive tasks and very boring stuff. Sorry, everyone. I think I lost the connection. I think we were in the last question, right? Share the screen. where we were here. So as humans, we are actually good at doing creative activities than robots for sure. Like it's true, like we have like several stuff like AI generated images and all, but still they're not very creative, right? They are always based on the knowledge humans created. Knowledge in the internet are being created by humans. That's what actually these ChatGPT and all the AI tools are consuming. So that's why I say humans are like better than these AI tools and robots at doing creative activities. All right. So here I'll actually show you some of the things that we captured in the Swiss Robotics Day. So now, unfortunately, like in Sri Lanka, we can't see many cool stuff happening in robotics field, right? So we have to go into countries like Switzerland, Germany, Japan to see like the cutting edge stuff happening in other countries. So then I'll like show you some videos. So I hope like you have seen this robot here. It's like a very cute robot, like compared to other robots, yeah. Has very cute, interesting sounds. And then this has been actually been developed by Disney Studios. So Disney is popular for robots, right? Like Disney is not popular for robots, right? They are popular for like Mickey Mouse and other cartoons. But even they are actually working in robots. That's pretty interesting, right? So now imagine when Disney makes a robot, it has to be like very energetic and very cartoonish, right? So that's what they have done. A robot with a personality. It's very cute and it can like do several emotions. You can talk with him. So that's an interesting project they're working. And they also partnered with NVIDIA as well. And then there are several robot dogs in different applications. Like we have Boston Dynamics, who are like the lead in the robotics industry right now. And then we have Anybotics, also like a very popular robotics company engaged in like quadruped robots or simply robot dogs. And then Swiss Smile is also another Switzerland company working on robot dogs. So these robots actually been in like security purposes and then in like industrial like manufacturing floors for like different purposes. And then here you can see a robot that's been used in like surgeries. So like robotic surgery, you can see like several needles and they can do very subtle tasks like in a very precise way. And then there's like automated wheelchair and then you have like a drone used in the agricultural sector. And then like there's an automated car for disabled people. So this you can see the sensors mounted on top of the robot there, and it can sense the world around it and go by itself. Very similar to self-driving car, but very affordable. So even a normal person like you and me can try to even purchase something like this. I mean, we can't obviously go and buy a Tesla, right? But they have like cut the cost down, so even a normal person can afford something like this, an autonomous car. And then these type of soft robotics projects are very popular these days. So I just want to give you like some idea into different stuff that is happening in robotics these days in the modern world. So soft robotics is kind of a like a category or subcategory in robotics. So usually when we talk about robotics, it's all about like steel, plastic, like very rigid materials, right? But in soft robotics, they are using like very soft and flexible materials like cloth and then like silicon and then sometimes like even bio materials like biodegradable materials. So you can see like they can mimic the human nature or like nature's like the biological patterns in the nature. Like these fingers are very much like human skin and then like human skin and the bone structure. So soft robotics is actually about mimicking nature and trying to transform robotic system into more that to look like more like nature. And then like, there are like several robotics competitions happening around the country, around the world. So there's like robot soccer called Robo Cup. So we have like Navo robots playing soccer with each other. And then there's this like autonomous Formula One challenge. So it's not like in the scale of big, very, very big Formula car, but it's actually for university students to and even school students to like upload a code and try out a car that is going autonomously and mark the best lap time. So these are like very popular around the world. And unfortunately, like we don't have the experience to see these things in Sri Lanka, but we are trying hard to bring these experience to Sri Lankan students, be it a school student or an undergraduate. And then even drones are becoming very fast and very efficient. So you can see these very like ultra fast drones going autonomously. So this is a race between a like human controlled drone and an autonomous drone. And you can see autonomous drone can easily like beat the human controlled one. Yes. And so like, I mean, we can always see the things happening in other countries, right? So as Robotic Gen, that's what we actually thought. Why can't we bring these stuff here in Sri Lanka as well? Why can't we develop robots in SL? Like, what's the problem here? So we thought like we have enough talent here. Like we have really good undergraduates, like working in universities, and we have like really good students who are engaged in robotics and AI in schools. So what's the problem? The problem is actually we don't have enough funding and opportunities in Sri Lanka. So that's what we are actually going to change in the coming years. So hope we'll be able to like give all of you the experience to join with us and even engage in this stuff. So then we came up with this our robot dog project. So we actually like working on top of this robot dog, which is based on a unitary robot model and adding it autonomous capabilities. So I think if you in this last axis session, I think you may got the opportunity to see this robot as well. So this is the base robot, and we have like several add-ons mounted on the robot for it to work autonomously. So we have to give it a brain, a way to see the world, and that's how we are being actually doing as a research in the Robotic Gen labs. Right. So around the world, like for different use cases, there are different types of robots being deployed. So there are service robots to do like several services for the people, and there are industrial robots and underwater robots like submarines. And then we have robots with wheels, we have robots with legs, like robot dogs. And then what does this look like? Like what does this robot reminds you? What like what kind of animal is it? One. Okay, I'll let you time to answer that. And then we have robots that look like humanoids. We call them as humanoids. And then we have aerial robots. Simply, we can say it's a drone. And then we have robot arms. So there are different types of robots, and we have to select the type of robot based on that application or where we have to deploy the robot, right? Uh, yeah. So then actually, like, I had to go into this different topic. Why I love robotics. So I talked about different robots and where the robots are being introduced, and I also talked about like how uh, we are going to work in robotic stuff in robotic and labs. So then comes the question, why I love robotics, right? So I actually started loving robotics when I was a school student. And even when in the university, like I was very much engaged in robotic stuff. The reason is robotics actually helps you to understand your passion. Because like when you want to make a robot, you have to be good at different fields. You have to be good at coding. You have to be good at mechanical design. You have to be good at electronics. You have to be good at like AI stuff. Because robotics is multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary means ගොඩක් subject එකතු වෙලා තමයි robotics එක හැදෙන්නේ. ඔයාලට coding විතර පුළුවන් කියලා robotics කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාලට mechanical පුළුවන් වුණා කියලා robotics කරන්නත් බෑ. You have to have a good all-round knowledge about different fields. And then actually you can find out what you're good at. Coding වලට දක්ෂ නම් ඔයාලට එතනින් ඉස්සරහට යන්න පුළුවන්. So robotics is a good starting place for any career. If you want to be a coder, you can start with robotics. If you want to be a 3D designer, you can start with robotics. If you want to be an electronics engineer, you can start with robotics. That's why I really love robotics. It helped me to find out my passions because I got exposed to different fields. And then robotics is very tangible, right? So since when I was a kid, I always wanted to do stuff with my like on hands, like hands-on sessions, hands-on like stuff, right? So then I like got with electronic stuff, and then I can like put some wires and connect lights and see that light like brightening up. It was very much exciting for me than just coding in front of a laptop. So that's the next reason. I can even touch the things that I'm working on. And then you cannot build a robot just by yourself. You need to have a really good team, a strong team. So teamwork is important if you want to build a robot. And then robot is actually right now a very trending topic. Many industries are shifting towards robotics and autonomous systems because they have now found out there's a massive labor shortage. And sometimes, even though when we have people, the people are not skilled enough. And sometimes we need more autonomous systems to work in our industries, in our factories. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge loss. And at the same time, people might say it's going to, like, people are going to lose jobs. But I would say, if you want to keep your job, you have to be good at robotics and AI and coding. Because if you're at the top of the chain, then there's going to be no risk for your job if you know how to go through that way. So at the same time, with robotics, there'll be more new jobs coming up. So that will be more about like instead of you working alone, you'll have to collaborate with the robot and get more work done. So that's how the robots actually are going to change in the coming years. And then using robotics, you can actually solve real world problems that matter the most. So those are the reasons I actually love robotics, and I just want to give you that inspiration on why you have to choose robotics. And then reason why I say robotics is multidisciplinary. So if you want to create a very complex robot like this, a robot dog, you have to like work with computers. So in robotics, like we can't just mount a laptop and work with it, right? We need to have like robots, like computers that are small enough so we can work these things for computer. We have a task. Robots, they are the simplest or cheapest version is single build. And then you have to be good at science. Yeah, like hello? Am I audible enough? Can someone confirm?
Yes, saya.
All right. Uh, so you have to be mechanical enough. So you have to work with motors and conveyors. You have to design your structure and 3D print them with plastic. You have to do a lot of mechanical stuff. And then you have to be engaged with AI and ML. So you have to use a camera and maybe detect those like objects in front of it. And you have to like do some AI stuff to detect anomalies and so on. So it's a combination of everything. Right. So if you want to like become good at robotics, so you have to have the expertise in all these type of skills. So you have to have a good idea on how to design a robot, how to like design a 3D printable stuff, how to design like a steel structure. And then you need to have the know-how on how to assemble things. And then you need to know how to code using a programming language. And then the important thing, you need to know how to test a robot properly. Because testing a robot is very important. You cannot just design, assemble, and code something because it's a long journey of testing and getting something done. It might be very simple robot, like for a competition like SLRC. You can code it and design it, everything, but if you don't test it, I'm I can guarantee that you are going to fail in the competition day if you don't test it enough. Just like you might take 1 month to make for again. Is a problem for every
Yes, sir, it's been lagging, but it's still audible.
Give me a minute until I fix this. Yeah. How's the connection now?
Now it looks fine.
Okay. So yeah, everyone, I think you can answer the quiz here. Did I stop the time? You can still answer the question. Okay, so anyway, let's like go into like few questions. I think we are actually the fourth question right now, so we can quickly go through some of the questions. So I think everyone is online right now, right? Let's go into the question quickly. You have to put it in the quiz app, so you can mark the answers here. So let's go into the. I'll put the timer here. All right, we have Yoshidi in the first place and Vidul in the second place. Vidul and Vidun in second and third, and fourth Shavin Chips. Okay, see, the correct answer is actually Ameka. That's the robbers who is in the display. All right, let's go to the next question. What is the name of the general purpose foundation model for humanoid robots showcased by NVIDIA in March 2025? That's a kind of hard question if you are not very into robotic stuff. So I showed you this robot, right? So this robot was used by NVIDIA to showcase like a AI platform. The question is, what is the name of this platform? So if you are like a very much like star, like Galaxy, like Guardians of the Galaxy fan, I think you can guess the answer. Yeah, I think Yoshita, Vidul, and Vidun still gave the answer correctly. Only 17 answered, ne? Yeah, correct answer is Groot. It's actually spelled as GR00T, but usually say Groot. So that's the AI model tried out by NVIDIA for that cute robot that I showed you earlier. And then we can go to the next questions quickly. What programming languages are used for robotics? Is it C, C++, Python, or all of above? So if you actually listen to what I said earlier, I think you might have answered it properly. So the correct answer is all of above. Because like I said, like we have AI, we have like mechanical stuff. So I mean some of I think most of you answered as all of above. Some of you told C++. Yeah, actually C++ is being used in robotics for sure. At the same time, Python is also used here because we have AI, ML stuff. So Python is the easy language to work with such stuff. So that's why, and also C is definitely being used in robotics and in embedded systems. So it's a tricky question, but if you got the idea of having AI in robotics, then you could have answered it properly. Okay, let's go to the next question quickly. How do robots know where to go or what to do? They use sensors and cameras to see. They have a magic wand that shows them the way. That's a good answer, I would say. They can smell pizza from miles away and follow the scent. They ask their robot friends for directions. What do they? I'll give some time to read. They use sensors and cameras to see, or they have a magic wand that shows them the way. I really like that answer. They can smell pizza from miles away and follow the scent. They ask their robot friends for directions. Okay, I'll go to the answers. But the correct answer is actually they use sensors and cameras to see, right? I can't still see them. Are you still answering? Still the leaderboard is still the same. You have Yoshida in the first place, Vidun in the second place, and Shavin James in the third place. So the correct answer is simply they use sensors and cameras to see. Go to next. What powers most robots? Is it a special type of magic stored in their circuits? Is it batteries or electricity from a power source? Or is it a combination of wind and sunlight? Or robots never need to be powered, they just work forever. So last questions are a bit fun, right? Not like really hard questions. Oh, how you got it wrong? Someone got it wrong, I guess. One answered special types of magic stored in the circuits. How? Okay, next question. Which of the following companies not involved in robotics? Have ABB, Boston Dynamics, Disney, who's making cartoons, and then you have JP Morgan. Answer is which of the following companies not involved in robotics? Just a reminder, Disney is the one who makes Mickey Mouse cartoons. All right. I think fourth place got changed. Resandu came in as fourth place. Let's see. Okay, 13 answered as ABB. Oh, ABB is a leading robotics company. And two of them answered as Boston Dynamics. I just showed you a video of Boston Dynamics there with Robot Dog. And Disney, that's a bit tricky, but I think I gave you the answer. Disney is actually involved in robotics. So I just showed you a video. And JP Morgan is actually a financial institute, more like a bank. So they are not actually involved in robotics or anything related to that. All right, we can go to the 10th question. What is the name? Oh, okay, I think I have to stop this here. You don't know it yet? All right, so let's go to session. All right, so then now the reason you came here, right? How can you get started with robotics? So the way we got started with robotics is by participating in competitions. So there are a lot of competitions happening around the country, like Sri Lanka Robotic Challenge. There's this competition called RoboFest, organized by SLIT. And then there is Expertix, organized by Ruhuna University. Like there are a lot of competitions, like even more than that. There's Battlebot competitions by UOLS University. So these are some of the robots that we developed over the years. Like we can see like very simple robots. I think some of you may have already built robots like this. These robots for like SLRC. And there's this micro mouse robot called Vegabatta. And then they have Obermouse, like second iteration of the micro mouse. And we won several competitions with this robot. And then you can see a robot that looked like a spider there. I mean, we did it with a partnership with the Australian research company. And then we have done like a battle bot here. This battle bot is actually really cool. It can shoot water. It doesn't have very like sharp weapons. It's very cute and it can just shoot water. That's its main weapon. And then throughout the years, like we have won several competitions. We have been into the Technologian World Cup, and we won the RoboFest and the Micromesh competitions organized by IIT. And we also won the IESL Robo Games in 2023. And many more than that, like even in international competitions organized by EEE. So Micromouse is actually one of the most interesting projects I've been involved in. So in Micromouse, you have to build a small robot that looks like a mouse. It has to like solve a maze. You can see this video as well. So robot has to start from a corner and go to the center of the maze. So these robot competitions happening like around the world, and they're very popular among most undergraduates. Even professors are like participating in these competitions. So these are attempt in participating in these competitions. So I just want to give an idea about like from start of a competition to the competition day. We test the robot there, and then we manufacture it, we code it, we simulate it, and then I guess sound is not shared. Ne? center, come back to the starting cell as fast as possible. So you can see this robot is very small, right? But it is packed with so many sensors and like so many like good stuff that you have to, all the things that you need to learn programming and coding with robots. So it has a gyroscope, like an STM32, like a microcontroller, simply the computer that runs the brain of this robot. And you have IR sensors to see the surroundings, and there's motors, and there's a screen. It's very tiny, but you can actually learn everything about robotics using these, more like most of the things about robotics using these very tiny robots. And then I just show you quickly about one of the battle boards that we have built. So this is more like a fun thing for us. It didn't have any like very edgy like weapons mounted on, just a way to shoot further and go fast. That's how we make it. Yeah. So when you want to like get into like robotics competitions and go in as a team, these are the skills that you have to like master at. So if you take a robot, as I showed you earlier in here, like you have to have a PCB, a printed circuit board. So you have to design it, right? So you need to have that knowledge. So you can go with like in professionally, like we are using tools like Altium, but it's very hard to get a license for that because you have to like pay a very big amount to get this one. But if you're in like a university, you can get the student license, yeah. But I would recommend you to start with something like KiCad, or there's this web version called EasyCAD. It's very much easy to get started with your first PCB design. So I would recommend you to go with KiCad and EasyCAD. And then you have to design your structures of the robot. So you have to 3D design it. So professionally, what we use is something called SolidWorks. SolidWorks has been there for like, I would say 20 years. I don't know the exact year, but it means for a so long time, everyone is using SolidWorks in their engineering work. But I would say if you want to purchase SolidWorks, it would be costing like, I don't know, 400,000 maybe. It's very expensive. But thankfully, we found this tool called Onshape. It's actually founded by the same people who departed from SolidWorks company. So Onshape is web-based, it's online, and it's totally free, and you can get all the features in SolidWorks for free. So Onshape is really good if you want to learn 3D designing and get them printed using a 3D printer. So I would recommend you to go with Onshape. And then we have to work with microcontrollers or onboard computers when you want to build robots. So for that, we need to be very good at C and C++. And sometimes we can even get started with MicroPython. I'm pretty sure most of you know Python. So you can try to learn this thing called MicroPython. It's exactly Python, but more for like programming small computers like microcontrollers. So you need to like get familiar with platforms like Arduino, and then you can move into this Espressif or ESP32, so which has more power, acting to very tiny package, and you can even work with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth stuff. And then when you go into industry, you can go for like STM32 microcontrollers. This STM32 is what we use in our micro mouse as well. And then there's companies like Nordic Semiconductors who are like making industry level stuff. So it's actually a journey. You have to first start with Arduino, then move into ESP32, and then go into STM32. And at the same time, you can work with Raspberry Pi and do projects into stuff. And then you have to work with robot software as well. So sometimes like you have to learn after some experience with this stuff, you can go into learn robot operating system, which is like a very fundamental thing in if you want to have a career in robotics. And then NVIDIA has become very prominent in this robotics industry. So if you want to learn more stuff in robotics, you'll have to like learn a lot of stuff about NVIDIA platforms like Jetson. And then there are a lot of NVIDIA platforms like Isaac Sim and so on. So you need to have like a really good GPU as well if you want to learn more in your laptop or in your computer. And then you need to like get a good idea about Git. So if you know about coding, I hope you know about Git. So how can you code collaboratively and have the version control. So it is important. And then sometimes like robotics expensive, right? So if you want to build a robot dog, that you cannot do alone because the sensors and these platforms of the robot dog are very expensive. It will cost you at least $10,000 if you want to build a robot dog. Just say if you want to just buy a very expensive camera, it will cost you maybe 500,000 rupees. So sometimes you can't do that, right? So still, if you have a laptop, you can run a simulator to simulate the work of a robot. So professionally, we use systems like Gazebo to simulate. That's actually based on this robot operating system. But for you, I would recommend to go with Vbots. Vbots is a free software that you can use to simulate your robots, and even you can get to work with this Boston Dynamics Spot Robot Dog as well. You can get into this Vbot simulator and code it. That's pretty easy. And you can use like game development systems like Unity to simulate robots as well. So these are the desired skills in the robotics industry. So if you want to get into career in robotics, you have to master these things. But this will be very hard, right? So that's why I came up with a beginner's combo. So we want to build your first robot or maybe the first 10 robots. This will be your like combo pack. So you have to pick your microcontroller, like pick your brain of the robot. So that could be an Arduino Mega or an ESP32. And then you have to find out what is the programming environment you want to code, or IDE, we like the software that we are going to code the robot. So that could be either Arduino, or that could be uh, like a software with MicroPython like Tony. If you are more familiar with Python, you can go with MicroPython. If you know Arduino C++, you can go with Arduino Mega board along with Arduino IDE. And then comes the 3D designing and how do you 3D print stuff. Then you have to learn Onshape. Onshape is free and has full of features. You can design anything like grippers, structures of your robot, chassis of your robot. You can design them and get them 3D printed. And when you have to get some electronic stuff done, like if you're going to get like PCB done, you can go to EasyED. It's online, it's free. You can easily design your first PCB and get it done from manufactured from China and bring it to here in Sri Lanka, and you can assemble your robots there. And then if you don't have money to buy any of these things, still you can learn robotics by learning it in Vbots. Vbots is also again free software. You can download it in Windows operating system or even in Linux. That's fine. You can get it download and you can try out the different robots. So I'm actually just wanted to tell you these names because I know in this age of like AI, you can easily learn this stuff with the support of tools like ChatGPT, because that's how you have to use ChatGPT. It's not just to do your assignments and homework. You can use ChatGPT to learn stuff. You just want to tell, like, give me a list of resources to learn on Shape, and ChatGPT will give you a list of resources, like list of good videos. And if, I mean, even if you want, you can just do it through a Google search as well. There are a lot of videos available to get started with ESP32 and how to design a PCB in ECDA and how to do your first simulation in Vbots. There are a lot of tutorials available online. You just have to search the keyword. So I just gave you that experience here. And then we'll quickly go to the like industry, like how the things are in robotics, right? So first of all, like all of you are in school students, I know. Maybe some of you are like after A-levels. So maybe after O-levels and doing A-levels right now. So first you have to do your advanced level in probably mostly in like I would recommend for you to do if you're into robotics, I would recommend for you to do your A-levels in like physical science stream, because robotics is essentially very maths heavy field. You need to have a really good grasp of mathematics if you want to pursue a career in robotics. So I would actually recommend for you to go for physical streams if you want to get into robotics. But still, you can self-learn a lot as well. And then after doing advanced level, you can get into a bachelor's degree in electrical, mechanical, electronic, or computer science in any state university or in a private university, or maybe you can go even abroad. You can go abroad as well. And after your graduation, you have two paths to go. Either you can go to the industry as a robotics engineer, or you can go to academia and do your research and like get your master's or PhD. So that's another, there are two pathways for you to go. So but actually there's a third way to go as well. That's what we are doing at Robotic Gen. You can build your own robotic startup because robotics actually an up and coming field. It's not like saturated as in software field. There are a lot of new companies coming up, like very newly, very fresh. So there's opportunities for you to come up with your own startup in robotics as well, because robotics is not yet there like as a leading field right now, but it's yet to happen in the next 5 years. So by that time you'll be in universities, or maybe you are having your own companies. So I invite you all to go in these three pathways and even join us if you have the interest and passion. So internationally, there are several industries that have been very prominent in robotics industry. So ABB, I think now you know about ABB. And then we have Anybotics, who are working in robotics, robot dogs. And they have ClearPath Robotics and companies like Robotic Assistant Devices. And they have a branch in Sri Lanka as well. And in Sri Lanka, we have companies like Zone 24/7, Arimac, who are working in robotics. And hopefully we'll be able to place RoboticGen Labs as the next big thing in robotics in Sri Lanka as well, and give the opportunity for you to even come and work for us in robotics. And if you want to go into academia, so MIT, Carnegie Mellon, ETH Zurich, University of Michigan, and Stanford are like the most prominent universities in robotics. So after your graduation in a state university in Sri Lanka, you can maybe target to go into a university like this for your further studies. And then I would actually not stress more into conference and journals here. But if you're really interested in robotics, you can actually try out these conferences like ICRA, IROS. They are the places with the latest developments in robotics, like the cutting edge technology. If you want to find them, you have to go there, these conferences, right? So finally, my takeaway message for you is you have to start small, right? So you have to. So this team from Elizabeth Moyer, they even participated in several school level robotics competitions, and they even actually failed in their first attempt. And then they actually regrouped, and then they even went on to win like many global competitions as well. So there should be a starting point for all of you. That's what I invite you. So right now, after this session, talk with your friends and form a team, and then devise a master plan to participate in these competitions. So there are a lot of competitions happening around the country, like Sri Lanka Robotics Challenge, IESL Robo Games, and then we have RoboFest, and we have Expertix. So I invite you all to participate in these competitions. SLS will be happening like in next January. So we have enough time to like learn robotics and participate as a team. You have to get started today and make your first robot and join the next robotics competitions. I hope you'll be able to like win maybe in your first time as well. That would be really good. So before we finalize the session today, I just want to give you a brief introduction to about Robotic Gen and what we do. I think I gave you some idea about so far. I think we finished the quiz as well. I think, yeah, we have to finish the quiz first. You can answer the question now. So what is the name of the robot that can solve methods? It's actually Obermouse, which is a micro mouse. Let's go. That's 26 of you answered it correctly. Let's go to the last question. How are robots helping farmers around the world? It's again easy question. By making pies with fresh ingredients, by telling the cows funny stories, or by planting and harvesting crops automatically, or by acting as scarecrows and dancing in the fields. What do you think? I'll check the slide as well. All right, let's end the quiz. No, no, so responses. Only 30 answered there. Right. First place is Vidun. Right, congratulations. Let's have a like celebration icon, like emote there. Second place Jashita and third place is Shabil. Yep. Thank you everyone for participating in the quiz. Let's wrap up the session and answer the questions later. Just quickly go through about Robotic Gen there. Yep. So we believe that if you want to be world class, like this, something like especially Bill Gates. So if you want to like be world class, you have to start doing what you love in a very young age. So that's what we are actually promoting with our RoboticGen Academy. So we have the vision of creating the future tech leaders. So I invite you all to join with us if you want to like learn more about robotics and AI. You can join with us. Like you can reach out to me, or maybe you can reach out to you through our website as well. And then we have the RoboticGen Labs, where we are working on R&D to lead the tech today. And all in all, our goal is to drive the future generation of robotics and AI in Sri Lanka. And also, like if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach to our YouTube, just as Robotic Gen. You can search in YouTube, and there are a lot of research videos, tutorials, podcasts, like published in our YouTube. And then, if you want, you can go into our website. It's www.roboticgenacademy.com. Or you can maybe scan this QR code, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then also, like if you're like after A levels, you can even try to join our startup, even as a mentor level 1. So you can get like you can do as a volunteering and learn more about robotics with our team, and maybe even get into paid position later as well as an internship. So that's another opportunity for you to join the Robotic Gen as well. Yep, that's it.
We are heading to
Let's
the age of technology where
go
innovation and
into
creativity
the
are the
Slido
foundation to
and wrap
solve
up
the
the
world's
session.
biggest problems. Traditional learning methods won't prepare the future generation to thrive in this modern world. So, with many years of research with professors of top universities and engineers of top tech giants, Robotic Gen is happy to introduce a novel way of learning for kids in the age of 10 to 18, which we call journey-based education. Here, the students have to follow along a journey with a cute and curious robot called the Obo Junior that goes on a world tour to become a superhero. In this journey, the students get to solve SDG-based challenges every week while learning STEM concepts. So far, more than 35 students and parents love our innovative approach, and our experience is accredited by STEM.org. See how our young innovators would solve the
Yes, that being
challenges
said,
of
I think we
tomorrow.
can go to the Slido. Yes, why use robots and uncertain future? So I think I answered that question in the slide. How can we? Can a robot ever be truly autonomous if every action it takes was written by a human? Well, yeah, if every action is written by a human, it's not actually autonomous, right? So autonomous robot, they actually can see around the sensors through using their sensors, and they take decisions by themselves. But at the same time, you can see with this generative AI coming up, there are actually a lot of research happening where the robot itself can write the code that runs itself. So these things are happening at the same time as well. But the definition of being autonomous is that robot can take decisions by looking around the environment using its sensors and perform an action. So that's what the definition of autonomous means. But if you want to go for a more advanced one, I think there's this concept called a world model, where the robot can perceive everything as sophisticated as a human. So, I mean, we haven't reached that point yet. There's so much things to do to reach into a world model level. So I think, but hopefully at this rate, I think I'm pretty sure we'll be able to see such a world model very soon as well. Any good resource to learn C and C++ hands-on? So if you want to actually learn these things regarding robotics, I would actually my suggestion is maybe you can get started with Arduino, and then you can actually work in several projects related to C, C++. But I'll actually share a video regarding like a video series on C++. There's this in YouTube. There's this channel called Serial Stackness. So there's a very good C++ tutorial if you want to follow. But I'm not very sure if that will be too advanced for you. But that's actually a really good resource. I'll share a link as well. Can we still choose the AI and robotics degree in University of Morato after A-level? There's no robotics degree per se, but usually you can go for the AI degree offered by the IT faculty in University of Morato. If you want to do robotics in University of Morato, you have to either select the computer science engineering department or the electronics and telecommunication department, or maybe the electrical department as well. So you have to get into the engineering faculty in University of Morato if you want to do robotics. Can we still choose the, that's why I asked, what ethical issues come with autonomous robots? So ethical issues are mostly like when we have autonomous robot working in our houses, that means surely there's a video stream going on, and we are not actually very sure if these video streams are being shared with some third party. So that's actually really big security threat. I mean, if we have a robot inside our organizations, I mean, that's actually like there's a spy inside our house. If someone can tap into those videos and get that's a really big problem. So that's like the major problems happening right now with robots when they have like videos mounted on those robots. So video cameras mounted on those robots, that's a really big problem. Yeah. What skills should students learn for robotics? Like fundamentals before we get into robotics. I think that I covered that during the presentation. So I showed you the skills that you have to cover: coding, programming, electronics, and mechanical design. But I invite you to do that by making your first robot. That's why I shared you the combo pack that you have to learn. How do robots communicate with each other? So usually they use like the same communication technologies that are being used in IoT systems, MQTT. So that's actually very common for them to use things like it. But also they might be using like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth sometimes as well. Can a robot think, or does it just follow instructions? Robots can think actually these days. So right now there's this the trending topic called visual language action models. That means the robot can see, or that model can see, and then convert them into language and then do an action. So there's no any instruction fed into by a human. The robot can actually by itself think and perform that action. What's the tutorial name you said that we can learn C and C++? I'll share a video, a link. Serial Stackness. I'm not very sure about the spellings. I'll put a chat there. I'm not very sure about the spellings. That's the YouTube channel name. Can I use MicroPython in Arduino board? That I'm not very sure. I don't think it's possible. But if you take an ESP32 board, I think that's very cheaper than Arduino board as well. But at the same time, you can code it with Arduino, or you can go with MicroPython. At the same time, you get Wi-Fi and Bluetooth as well. So I'd actually recommend to go for an ESP32 than going for an Arduino board if there's no any other special reason. Do you think that robots are to kill humans in future? That's actually a possibility. But as roboticists, like we have to adhere to some ethics as well. So so these ethics actually been derived from this sci-fi fiction author called Isaac Asimov. So there are 3 rules that are actually governing all the robotics engineers and scientists who are working on robots. So as long as we stick to those rules, I don't think like there'll be any threats to the human world. But obviously, there are bad apples like everywhere. So I'm pretty sure there'll be engineers and scientists who are working on robots that will harm the humanity as well. That's actually the same thing with anything from weapons, even a knife. You can use it to cut fruit, so you can even to use it to kill someone. So that's the same thing with robotics as well. How do robots communicate with each other? You answer that. If a robot learns new tasks on its own, who is responsible if it fails? Who is responsible if it fails? Yep, that's a tricky question. At the same time, I think the responsibility should come with the manufacturer of the robot, because usually, like, if a robot has to learn a new task in its own, that comes with a technology like concept like reinforcement learning. So robot has to do a task, and if something goes wrong, we penalize the robot for it. And if it does things correct, we give them a reward. That's how we actually train a robot for a new task that he hasn't seen before. So actually, if you want to train a robot, it's always the better way is to like interact with a human. So that's actually the robot training is being done right now. Always there's a human in the loop who's overseeing the process of a robot learning a new task. So I guess still there are the humans or scientists who are responsible at the things happening right now in the case. I mean, but I don't think like these type of robots are still there in the market, so you can go and buy such a robot. They are still in research phase. But maybe in 5 years, there'll be robots in the market who actually think can do stuff. But I can guarantee you, like, robotics is not as advanced as you might think. Something that is being limited into research labs, and only a very few people who actually know the real status of the robotics. Can you learn for me Python, HTML, C++, and JavaScript space? So I mean, if you go into like these websites like W3 schools, and then you can even go for like edX, Coursera. You can even do courses for free and learn a lot of stuff in Python programming, HTML, web development, anything. So there are a lot of resources out there on the web. So it's just a matter of time for you to search a course and get it done. So I would actually invite you to like maybe go for Coursera. I'll put in the SSN. You can do courses for free that have been offered by like several universities. Maybe you feel like after A levels, you can use that time to learn something new on Coursera. Or maybe you can go for Udemy if you like, if you can pay a little amount. Udemy is also a good place to learn, but you'll have to actually pay for that courses. There's a robotic and automation degree in University of Morocco. I haven't actually heard about something like that for my 4 years in university. Uh, yeah. What are your thoughts on Raspberry Pi for embedded systems to create a full robot like with Arduino, but easy and with better AI processing power? Okay. For yeah, I mean, you can create a robot using Raspberry Pi. If you want to like have better AI processing power, that I'm not very sure, but surely you can mount a camera and do some object detection. Like you can maybe look into this YOLO, which is like a very simple model that you can run to detect objects and do some trivial AI stuff. But I won't guarantee you that you will be able to do uh, the things Boston Dynamics will be doing in your Raspberry Pi. But surely, but you can still learn a lot using a Raspberry Pi and connecting into a small web camera. You can do some stuff. Yeah, I heard this incident, but I don't think actually. So even in America, there's just an LLM running on. So all the LLMs are trained on their human knowledge base, right? So anything that it generates, it's always based on the things human have been posted on the internet. So its database is based on. So I don't think that's actually a worry for us so far. Because actually robots are not as intelligent as us so far. What do you think? Arduino versus ESP32 versus STM32 versus Raspberry Pi? What do you can Arduino especially better control the actuators? Well, if you like have like a lot of motors working in your robot, I won't actually recommend you to use a Raspberry Pi alone. Sometimes like Raspberry Pi, it has like very poor PWM control if you want to like control motors. So I'd actually recommend you to go for a Arduino or an STM32 for motor controlling part, and then connect that Arduino to the Raspberry Pi. So you have Raspberry Pi as a master, and then the microcontroller Arduino STM32 as the slave. But I actually recommend you to go Arduino because STM32 might be a bit difficult. But again, ESP32 is also not that good in like motor controlling part. It's okay, but better to go for Arduino or STM32 if you won't have like a lot of motors to control. I don't recommend using Raspberry Pi for motor controlling stuff. What's the best coding language for robotics? Yeah, surely C++. Yeah, C++ is the best language for robotics. Yeah, that I don't know actually. Yeah, I think we can wrap up the Slido session. Yes. Yes, thank you everyone for being there for like almost 1.5 hours. Yes, I think we can decision. Stop share.
Thank you, sir, for that amazing session. What an incredible way to spark our minds and fuel our curiosity. Today, with SparkIT Session 1, the robotics workshop, you have truly taken the first step into a world of innovation, creativity, and endless possibilities. On behalf of the ICT Club of Girls High School Kandy and the Royal College Computer Society Colombo, I'm delighted to deliver the word of thanks. First and foremost, a heartfelt thank you to Robotic Gen for conducting this wonderful session. Your expert guidance, insightful explanations, and inspiring demonstrations not only taught us new concepts, but also ignited in us a deeper compassion for robotics. You have shown us that technology is not just about machines, but about imaginations and problem solving too. And also, a big thank you goes to each and every one of our enthusiastic participants. Your energy, questions, and eagerness to learn turned this workshop into a lively and enriching experience. Without you, today's success would not have been possible. And remember, this is only the beginning. More exciting SparkIT sessions are lined up this week, and of course, the SparkIT competitions are just around the corner. They will be the perfect stage to challenge yourself, test your skills, and showcase your creativity. Once again, thank you to everyone, our organizers, our resource persons, and each one of you present here for making this session such a memorable start to many. With that, I wish you all a very pleasant evening, and let's keep the spark alive. Good night.